more weird rumors, and I can't validate these. It's just kind of been floating around. I saw it floating around. Wanted to bring it up to you. Um, Crawford, Gennady Golovkin. Did that's a really weird one for me because I don't get it, right? Because it's not the cash out Canelo fight. It's not at 54 going for the belts, right? Because GGG is not going down to 54. So I don't know where that came from, but it's out there, right? So when you hear that, just tell me what you think.
To be honest, bro, I'm not particularly surprised though. If you take a magnifying glass and really examine Bud's career, you examine, especially at 147 pounds, he's beaten great fighters, Errol Spence, Sean Porter, but he's fought fighters that were at a particular at a point in time out of their prime, shouldn't even been in the ring with him, right? Example, Cal Brook,
American.
right? Amir Khan. Like we've seen this fighters that's way past their prime where he selects them because they still got a name, but they're clearly out of their prime, right? We've seen fighters do this, Canelo with Sergey. The list goes on and on. So him choosing Triple G, I'm not entirely shocked by because that's something Crawford would do to a degree. However, one thing that is a bit surprising to me is the fact that Triple G is kind of at a different weight class. And I thought he was retired, to be honest with you. He's kind of out of shape. His last fight was what, 2022 against Canelo Alvarez?
Yeah.
So it's been quite some time since he's been in the ring. But I also think maybe it's just a game plan for him to kind of ease up in weight, right? He move up another weight class, 160, chasing the Canelo fight, and then he kind of see how he fares against Triple G at 160. If he can go and dominate Triple G, he's going to use that as an excuse to show, like, I can fight Canelo. In my honest opinion, I think Triple G even now is dangerous, at 160. Yeah, he struggled against Derenchenko, right? That's when we started to see him kind of start falling a bit. That was a tough fight for him. He got hurt a couple times in that fight. He still won, but and then we see him against Canelo. That trilogy, the gap was further along the line at that point in time. So it's tough to say, but I'll say this: he better be careful because Triple G is still an animal.
I don't like that fight. I don't like it at all. If I was Terrence Crawford's team, I would just advise him like, hey, there's no real benefit from this fight, right? There's no title to be gained. Like you said, it's just if it's just testing yourself going up in weight, I would say fight somebody at 168, but maybe not a super threat. Maybe like a Damon Nicholson, who remember when Boo Boo went to 168, he fought Damon Nicholson. Maybe someone like that, right?
Right.
But Triple G, they say the last thing to go is the power.
Yeah.
So, and Triple G is a guy with a granite chin as well. People talk about Canelo's chin, like Triple G's got a chin. You know what I'm saying? Like if Triple G and Canelo stood in there toe to toe, no defense, and just socked it out, I think Canelo will go down first.
Yeah, in their prime,
In their
absolutely.
prime.
Yeah, especially in that first fight. Yeah, absolutely. You
You know what I'm
seen
saying?
Canelo?
Look,
He had Canelo on the back foot that first fight.
so Triple G, like I said, the power is the last thing to go, and he has a great chin. I just think there's no real upside there for Crawford, right? Because you go in there, you find out, hey, I can't hurt this guy, and he just keeps walking me down, walking me down. It's just unnecessary. You know what I'm saying? I don't even think it's a risk worth taking. I would just completely skip that altogether. It's crazy. I'm not gonna be able to find it. We have over 100 videos now, but there was an old video where we were talking about this, and we were talking about when Crawford first saying he wanted to fight Canelo, and I'm like, but does he want to compete at 168 or does he just want to fight Canelo for the cash out? At the time, I wasn't sure, and then I mentioned, I'm like, then why didn't he fight like a guy like Benavidez or something and if he beats Benavidez, then you got to be the guy to get Canelo. But I think now it's become more evident that it's not about competing at the weight class; it's just about getting Canelo. But the point I was making was in that video, I had brought this up. I was like, bro, I don't think Crawford could go up that far in weight. I'm like, I don't even think he could go to 160 right now and handle Triple G, is what I said at that time.
You
And
did.
it's crazy now that it may come to fruition. And maybe Bud just goes in there and proves me wrong and have his way with Triple G, right? But I don't see that. And I don't want to see Bud take that fight. I think just skip that fight altogether.
Okay. All right. Fair enough.
Because Where has Triple G showed vulnerability to the body? Terrence Crawford, yes, he can go to the body, but that's not really his forte, right? It's not really what he's known for, more so countering. But I just don't think he can hurt Triple G.
Yeah, and then it's like the fighters we've seen, Father Time is undefeated. And even with Triple G kind of waning in age, he's like you said, the power is still the last thing to go. He's still a major threat. And the fighters that even kind of pushed him, like Derevyanchenko, for instance, he's still a great fighter. Derevyanchenko will stop Crawford if Crawford went up right now to fight him. That's how tough of an adversary Derevyanchenko is. He has losses, but some of those losses are robberies. You know, he's tough. He's a tough adversary, tough fighter.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, you got to give credit too. Like these guys are big punchers at that weight. At that point, you could be more skilled than them. It don't matter,
Yeah.
right? We knew Canelo was more skilled than Triple G. And look what type of fights he gave Canelo. Gave
Mm-hmm.
Canelo the toughest fights of his career. So at a certain point in time, career skills do not pay the bills. It's
Yeah.
usually the physicals that pays the bills. Your stamina, your punching power, your chin.
Yeah.
Those physical aspects is what's going to carry the fight
Yeah.
along.
I would say if Crawford, I just think right now he's better served fighting like if you can get Mel in Mel's comeback fight, because Mel said he's coming back, right? Just
Yeah.
stay. If you're not going to get the Canelo fight, stay at 54. I don't even want to see the Canelo fight, but worry about 54. You know, fight Mel. That's a big name at 54. You know, do something like that, but leave Triple G alone, man, because I just think he can throw a wrench in everything. And next thing you know, we're gonna be having Canelo Triple G Part 4. And nobody wants that. Nobody wants that. So just leave Triple G alone in case he throws a wrench in this, messes everything up, and then he becomes the guy to fight Canelo now for the fourth time. And none of us want that. We don't want Triple G Canelo 4. So
Yeah.
leave him alone. See if you can get Mel to fight you. Um, Tim Zoo. Hopefully Tim Zoo wins the IBF. Then you can try to unify with Tim Zoo. You know, worry about those kind of things. Leave Triple G alone. Like let that man chill. You know what I'm saying? There's nothing left for him to do in the sport of boxing.